She's just a maid in a luxurious hotel, and he's a powerful sheikh who's used to everyone bowing to his will. But what if I told you that this sheikh, who humiliated her, had no idea that her life and his were about to change forever? How did one brave woman not only stand up for her dignity, but also receive a reward that would turn everything upside down? Stay tuned to find out what happened next. Monica hurried down the streets of the prestigious district of the capital, as if lost in a fog. She was rushing to work, not noticing the well-kept buildings, expensive cars, or the people walking around her. Ahead, a stylish, modern hotel building rose, with a flashy sign and 5 shining golden stars gleaming in the early morning sunlight. Monica worked as a maid at a respectable hotel and had always dealt with life's challenges. But last night, her mother's condition worsened. They called an ambulance. The whole night passed in anxious wakefulness. The lymphoma wasn't retreating. So much had already been done through free treatment programs. Yet her mother's illness still couldn't be beaten. Monica had begun to realize that the free treatment, which had dragged on for months, was showing no results. Now, she was terrified of what the doctor would say after today's examination. Her head spun, whether from lack of sleep or from the grim thoughts in her mind. Monica ran through the options in her head, trying to find a way out, but couldn't shake the thought of her mother's suffering. It was as though she was in a daze as she entered the hotel building, descended into the service area, changed into her uniform, and stepped out into the hallway. Still consumed by this inner pain, the young maid made her way to the storage room to get a cleaning cart. By habit, Monica turned the corner and stumbled into a flurry of activity by the elevator. A couple of porters were quickly loading a pile of suitcases onto a cart. On the side stood a perfectly dressed man with a tanned face and a hawk-like nose. He was overseeing the process, barking orders at the porters in English. Another demanding rich man. Monica thought to herself without giving it much attention. As she tried to avoid this stern man, she awkwardly bumped into the cart. It shook, and the rounded edge of the metal frame skimmed the polished crocodile leather of the largest suitcase with a barely audible rustle. "What the hell?" she heard the man with the hawk nose say instantly. Like all hotel staff, Monica knew English. She snapped out of her daze at the sharp exclamation and turned around. The haughty man slowly bent over the suitcase and froze. A thin, thread-like line appeared on the perfectly black leather. The man straightened up, his eyes narrowing, and he exclaimed in English, "You idiot!" The man was furious. He extended his finger, almost pointing it at her face. "You've damaged something worth more than you've ever dreamed of. I see you have no brains at all. Get the manager, immediately." As if on cue, the anxious hotel manager appeared from around the corner. Monica froze in fear. She couldn't utter a word, only helplessly stared at the suitcase. The manager, pale with fright, ran over and stared at the luggage, blinking at the spot the furious guest was pointing to. Trying to smooth things over, he put on a sympathetic expression and spoke in a low bow. "I am so sorry. We apologize. Get this woman out of here. I demand that she never shows up in the VIP zone again. Her presence is unacceptable," the guest commanded. "You'll leave this floor immediately," the manager said, grabbing Monica's arm and pulling her away, quietly berating her as they walked. "Do you even know who this is?" he hissed. "This is Jamal, the personal assistant to the Sheikh from the Emirates. The Sheikh and his son are arriving in an hour. Don't dare show up on this floor again. Understand? Until the guests leave. You're banned from the VIP zone." "Mail for Jamal," Monica said calmly, looking him directly in the eyes. The guard nodded silently and walked into the adjacent room, where muffled voices could be heard, as though someone was speaking via video call. Monica stood in the doorway, scanning the familiar, spacious room, luxurious furnishings, refined design. Her gaze landed on a small boy sitting on the carpet, engrossed in his play. The boy was dark-skinned, curly-haired, and about 5 years old, completely absorbed in his game. Nearby, the torn packaging of a toy set was scattered on the floor. The pieces were strewn about, and the boy was trying to arrange them according to the instructions. Monica, still trembling and not fully understanding what had happened, what was so terrible about her mistake that she was banned from the top floor, where she could earn the most generous tips, nodded submissively and hurried to the elevator that led to the service corridors. As the elevator door silently closed, Monica lowered her head and whispered bitterly to herself, "This problem is nothing, but my mother really needs the money." Monica rolled her cart to the floor where she was temporarily reassigned. The work here wasn't as prestigious as in the presidential suites. Her day was filled with basic duties, cleaning rooms, removing linens, and making the beds. Around noon, her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was the doctor. "I have the results of the tests." The doctor's voice was full of sympathy. "Unfortunately, the lymphoma is progressing. We can try a course of immunotherapy, or more specifically, targeted therapy with monoclonal antibodies. It would be best to start within the next 3 weeks. Or else? What do I need for that? Do I need any special referrals?" Monica asked anxiously. "At the moment, you have 2 options. First, wait for the government order for monoclonal antibodies, but the medication won't arrive for at least 3 months. There's a very long queue. And the second, start the treatment now. But for that, you'll need to find the medication yourself. The price is quite high, around 4 million. But I don't have that kind of money," Monica gasped. "Try reaching out to charities. Maybe you'll be able to gather the necessary amount." The doctor's words struck Monica like a sharp knife. Months of waiting meant a risk to her mother's life. She leaned her forehead against the cold wall, feeling her strength leave her. She knew finding millions in the next few weeks was simply impossible. "Okay, doctor, thanks for the information," she whispered and ended the call. Should she wait for the drug to come through the bureaucratic channels or go to friends and family, begging them to lend her money for an urgent purchase? She knew she'd never be able to pay it back. Feeling like the world was crashing down around her, disoriented and helpless, Monica grabbed her cart. At that moment, her colleague Tamara, another maid, appeared in the hallway, looking anxious and nervous. "Monica, help me out," she said, rushing up to her. "The manager allowed me to leave early to pick up my daughter from daycare, but only if someone covers for me for half an hour. I'll be right back. I covered for you recently, and now you cover for me on the 10th floor." Monica looked at Tamara's nervous face and swallowed. The 10th floor was the VIP zone, from which she had been temporarily banned. After a second of thinking, deciding that nothing too terrible would happen in 30 minutes, Monica agreed. "Of course, I'll cover for you. Go to your daughter." Tamara sighed with relief and ran to the elevator, but then suddenly turned around. "Check the reception for any mail for my rooms on the 10th floor, okay?" Monica nodded and quickly headed for the reception. There, she found a small brown envelope marked, "Urgent for Mr. Jamal, room 1001. Monica cursed under her breath. It was the presidential suite. Monica took the elevator to the 10th floor and gently knocked on the door of the presidential suite. A tall, muscular man in a perfectly tailored suit opened the door. Monica noticed a picture on one of the pieces, showing the outline of a famous historical building that resembled St. Basil's Cathedral. The boy, furrowing his brow, carefully sorted the colorful parts. Suddenly, he froze. His attention was drawn to a bright little object. A small red piece of the toy with green specks, resembling a tiny juicy fruit. Monica's body tensed, and before she could shout out, the boy quickly popped the piece into his mouth. The next moment, Monica instinctively sprang towards the boy like a tigress, prying open his mouth and sticking her fingers in to pull out the choking toy. The boy's eyes widened in fear. Both Arab men froze in shock. The guard, apparently the boy's bodyguard, immediately regained his composure and lunged at Monica, trying to pull her away from the child. He gripped her tightly and tried to drag her off. "Tharek!" the guard shouted in Arabic. Monica didn't understand, but she could feel the fury in his grip. In the struggle, Monica managed to open her hand. In her glistening, wet palm was the now slimy red piece. The guard instantly loosened his grip. He stared at the toy, then at the boy, and took a step back, his eyes still wide with shock. But at that moment, Jamal rushed at Monica, his fury boiling over. Like a hawk, he lunged at her. "You filthy maid!" Jamal screamed. "I told you to leave this floor immediately." He turned to the guard. "Faris, why are you standing like a statue? Take her away." Faris hesitated, still in shock. He raised his hand and pointed to the red object in Monica's palm. then spoke in Arabic. Lakadin kaftuto Hassan. Jamal shoved Monica's hand away, not even glancing at the toy. I saw this which put her dirty, unholy fingers in the mouth of my son. The Sheikh's heir, he shouted. This is utterly unacceptable. This is desecration. Jamal hissed as he pulled out his phone. Get the manager here now. Emergency incident on the 10th floor. His voice cut through the silence of the luxurious suite. The boy began to cry, unable to bear the sight. Monica knelt down, pulling the child close to her and covering his ears with her hands. Don't scream. You're scaring him. She tried to calm Jamal. At that moment, the door to an adjacent room opened, and a tall man in a white kandura appeared. His head was covered with a white gutra, secured with a black cord. He was large and imposing. His stern gaze swept from the shouting assistant to the frightened boy and the unfamiliar woman. What's going on here? The Sheikh asked in a low, commanding voice. Jamal, quickly turning to him, began speaking in Arabic. Then he turned back to Faris and pointed to Monica. Did you hear, Faris? Throw this witch out of the room. Now. Faris hesitated. He took the red piece from Monica's hand. This is ingratitude. Mr. Jamal, Faris said quietly. You cannot treat the one who saved the little lord this way. He showed the toy to everyone. Faris says that you saved my son. The Sheikh asked Monica, but my assistant claims otherwise. Monica and Faris fell silent, waiting for whose word would prevail. The boy sobbed, clinging to Monica. Jamal started speaking again in Arabic, but the Sheikh remained silent. Then, he raised his hand sharply, signaling for everyone to be quiet. All froze, staring at his imposing figure. Faris, please explain what you saw, the Sheikh said calmly but firmly. The guard briefly explained the scene, the choking, Monica's swift action, and Jamal's blind fury. The assistant tried to interject, but the Sheikh raised his hand again, stopping him from speaking. At that moment, the hotel manager rushed into the room and froze in the doorway, as though rooted to the spot. His face turned as white as a sheet as he looked at the scene in the presidential suite. He gazed at Monica, still kneeling, with the boy nestled in her arms. The boy had stopped crying, now simply sitting there, resting against her, blowing bubbles. The Sheikh slowly approached Monica. I am Khalid bin Tariq al-Mazuni, he said. So, you took this toy out of my son's mouth, madam? Monica nodded and explained with a trembling voice. The boy started choking. I couldn't just stand there. The Sheikh's expression softened, and a tear glistened in his eye. It was clear that this stranger, comforting his son, had touched him deeply. He removed a massive ring from his finger. I don't know your name, but as a father, I am grateful to you for saving my beloved son, the Sheikh said, placing the ring into her hand. This ring is my personal token of thanks. The assistant tried to insert himself into the situation again, but the Sheikh Khalid gave him a cold, dismissive glance. Jamal, this is my thanks. This is my decision, the Sheikh said firmly. Jamal opened his mouth to protest but was quickly interrupted. You will stay in your room and calm down, the Sheikh ordered. You will have no further claims against this woman. Leave now. Jamal, pale from humiliation, backed away, bowed, and nearly rushed out of the room, pushing the trembling manager out of his way. The manager stood frozen in place, as white as a ghost. The letter Monica had brought remained forgotten on the floor. Monica could hardly believe what was happening. Your Excellency, I don't know how to thank you, she whispered, tears of relief welling in her eyes. The Sheikh stroked Monica's head and turned to the manager, his gaze becoming businesslike. This brave woman saved my son's life and deserves a reward, the Sheikh said authoritatively. Your hotel was on the verge of a grand scandal. No important guest would have stayed here if something had happened, and it's only thanks to her that it didn't. I would suggest you think long and hard about how to make her life happier. Her life belongs to her, and you will ensure she has a secure future at this hotel. When the Sheikh and his son left for the next room, Monica, still in shock, left the suite. The ring in her hand was heavy and incredibly beautiful. Its wide base was made of matte, almost black platinum alloy. In the center of the ring, like a clump of frozen blood, gleamed a huge, perfectly cut ruby. After work, Monica made her way to a nearby jewelry store. She handed the ring over to the appraiser. "Can you tell me what this is?" she asked. The appraiser, taking the ring and inspecting it through a magnifying glass, whistled in amazement. "Miss, this is a signature ring. This is a true treasure, a pigeon blood ruby. This stone is exceptional, unmatched, not just any ruby, but a famous Burmese ruby, worth more than diamonds. Look, the stone is surrounded by 2 rings. The inner ones are made of the finest, clearest diamonds in classic cuts, and the outer ones are a delicate weave of antique yellow Arab gold. There's an inscription in Arabic on its base. This piece I can appraise. Its value is extremely high. Tell me, where did you get this ring?" he asked. "It was a gift from the Sheikh," Monica replied. "Khalid bin Tariq al-Mazouni, the same one who's visiting here right now, the one they've been talking about in the news." The appraiser couldn't believe it. A few days later, Monica sat at a large jewelry company in the city center. The same appraiser, amazed by the scale of the find, helped her arrange the sale, connecting her with one of the local auction houses. The Sheikh's ring became a subject of frenzy, with wealthy collectors offering a generous price. After paying taxes and commissions, Monica received an amount that was twice the cost of her mother's treatment. This sum was more than enough to cover the best course of treatment, settle her growing debts, and provide her with a financial cushion for the future. A few days later, Monica was called into the manager's office at work. "Monica," he said with a smile, "your actions saved our hotel's reputation. And I have some good news for you. A decision has been made regarding your promotion. You're now the senior manager for VIP clients, with a corresponding salary and premium benefits package. We're incredibly proud to have someone like you on our team." Monica left the manager's office with a happy smile. No matter what happened, she had saved her mother's life and ensured her own bright future, earning it through her honesty and courage. Subscribe and like so you don't miss the next shocking story. Thank you for watching.